Around SKOL brothers and sisters, this is SKOL Live, your host Dave, and your other host, Justin Day. Welcome to the show, Justin. What's going on, man?
Good morning, Viking fans. Good morning, Dave. It's the second simulcast of Minnesota Sports Talk pregame with Purple and Gopher Days. I'm excited for this game. I'll tell you what, this is going to be fun. You know, coming off of a that's the thing. When you play on Thursday, you got to wait the 10 days, which is good for the team to rest up. But as the fans, we got to wait that extra 3 days. So I'm excited. How you doing this morning, my friend?
Oh, I was itching for this game. I need something to watch, take my mind off of things. How you
guys doing?
I'm doing all right, man.
All right, good.
I'll talk about it. I think we got a tough matchup today. I have no bones about it. Oh, it's like a same feeling I really had going in the Patriots game. This is we took care of the Patriots offensively. They were a number 2 defense. Well, we're facing the same deal. So it's like, can we do it again? Right. That's why. And this is not a short week. This is a long week, which should give us a nice advantage of, I was in a Thursday game, I'm thinking, we don't have enough time to prepare for these guys. Belichick's going to have a deal for us, and then defensively, they didn't show up as well. Special teams hurt them in the second half. Now we're going on the Jets. I feel the same thing, maybe even a better defense. Who knows? We'll see. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll say this. For everybody that wants to call the Vikings frauds, I think when you look at between the Bills, the Cowboys, the Patriots, and the Jets, that we've played 4 of the top, 9 ranked defenses. Okay, so anybody want to still doubt Kirk Cousins and this offense and, all that good stuff here? They've been playing good defenses. Now, yes, they only put up 3 against the Cowboys, but when you talk about 33 offensive points against the Bills, 26 should have been 27 offensive points against the Patriots. They're holding their own offensively. Now, we'll talk about the defense here, I'm sure, during our time for the Vikings. But, yes, this is going to be another test. Now, I'm glad we have this game at home, obviously. And frankly, and I said this in my previous show, I think that of the remaining 6 games, this is the best team that we are slated to face before we get to the playoffs. We don't know what Chicago and Green Bay are going to have for us at the end. And I will say that this Jets team to me is better than the Lions as well as the Colts and the Giants. So it's going to be a tough game, but this is what you need. You need to be tested. You need to not just run through a schedule of easy games against easy teams if you want to be prepared. So they have the opportunity in front of them today to put another W on the board. The preseason over-under for the wins for the Vikings was 9.5. And so if you can tell somebody on December the 4th, first weekend of December, that you hit your over, hey, that's all you can ask for. But as you said, it's a great opportunity to once again show that this team is not a fluke.
And we got David Michelson.
What's up, David?
I want to say Michelson. I'm going to call you Michelson. In the house. Thanks for showing up, man. You are a Viking brother. Were you able to hear that noise that I just did?
No, I didn't.
Damn it. This is never going to work.
Oh, you're talking about the sound
effect?
Yeah. Flip it around. And then
I'm literally sharing it right now. But hey, Purple Pocket Podcast, I had your theme song ready when you showed up, but for some reason we can't hear it. That sucks. All right.
Well, we'll work on the production. We'll work
on that later. I am literally sharing it right now. I have no idea why it's not working. But hey, thanks for showing up, guys. We got a show for you. Super chat's available if you need it as it scrolls across the bottom. We got. Let me pull something up for you. We got. I got some keys to victory here, and I want to see what you think, man. First key to victory. Pass protection is we bounced back from the Dallas game. We pass protected very well. We same deal from Washington to Buffalo and the Dallas, and we were able to help Brandel, things like that. Brandel, I think, didn't have that great a game. We just chipped a lot and helped them out. Right. So are we going to go in? And I actually think that helped us. As far as, having an outlet pass because the chip, and then sure enough, we got Dalvin Cook open or the tight end open, So what do you think about that? Are we going to be able to pass protect?
Well, it really all depends. I mean, the Vikings got humbled. Kevin O'Connell got humbled a little bit in that Dallas game. What's up, GG? Thanks for joining us. they tried to just play their game and they didn't adjust soon enough, to say the least. And that game was out of hand. It was over and there was no point. They adjusted offensively very well by, I'm not going to say limiting the number of times they ran three wides, but mixing in two tight end sets, mixing in having CJ Ham on the field a little bit. So they did find a way to adjust. And I actually think you could make the argument that while I think New York's defense as a whole is better, I think New England's defensive line might be slightly better, but it's 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other. So yes, you're going to need to continue. And we said this prior to the New England game. That doesn't mean you need to go to the Gary Kubiak, Mike Zimmer, old school 1990s, two tight ends all the time, I formation, but you cannot leave your offensive linemen out on islands, okay? Particularly the left tackle, okay? The key to this game and key to any game offensively is keep Kirk Cousins comfortable as well as get the running game going. So yes, they're going to need to do some chips. They're going to need to keep some tight ends in here or there and mix it up and not go, 65% three wide receivers. So they did adjust in that Thursday night game on a short week. So if they continue with that, I think they will be okay.
Hey, thanks for showing up, Ryan. Appreciate it. I think, let's curb stomp them today. I don't care. Let's do it. And then GG Sports, thanks for showing up. If you are, what am I? I have another stream going and now I can hear myself. This is embarrassing. Hey, go ahead and talk some more while I fix this.
Okay, no problem. Well, Gigi, thanks for coming, Ryan, today in the national media. We'll show there's no fluke. Yes, stop that. That's all right, cool. Well, here's the thing. For me, I'll say it like this, just simply put. Offensively, run your game. Run your game with your adjustments. I want to see a little bit more from the run game because I don't want it to be just the Kirk Cousins to Justin Jefferson show. They did a very good job Thursday against the Patriots mixing the ball around. Hawkinson, obviously Jefferson, Adam Thielen. We didn't have a whole lot of success yardage-wise in the run game, but it was effective enough to keep the Patriots honest, as they say. So to me, offensively, try to get a little bit back to that run game. I know we like to have passing this, passing that, Rams offense, Air Coryell, wannabes, whatever it is you want to call it. But get that running game established a little bit. And I'm not saying run, pass, punt, like I was saying before, Gary Kubiak type situation. But I also want to see a little bit more of Alexander Madison. Now, I get it that, they didn't have too much concern running Dalvin Cook as many times. I mean, he had 22 carries. Alexander Madison only had 3. And I know that part of that was that you're going to have the extended break. But Dalvin Cook also caught 4 passes. So, again, a total of 26 touches for him and only 3 touches for Alexander Madison. I'd like to see a little bit more of a split there to keep Dalvin Cook fresh. I seriously doubt we'll see that today because, again, they're coming off the rest like we talked about. But offensively, to me, that is the key. You had targets to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You had 7 different targets. You had Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkinson, Osborne, Cook, Munt, and Rager. Keep the passes spread around. We all love watching Justin Jefferson go for 11 catches, 189 yards, and however many gritties. But the key to this offense and being able to do something today as well as in the playoffs is to keep that spread around there. How you doing?
I think the running game with that particular game might be flow of the game because there were no long runs. You know what I'm saying? There were no long runs, and so a lot of short carries. He didn't get winded, so he stayed in the game. When he does have big games, it's Alexander Madison gets a lot more carries. You know what I'm saying? But I agree. I mean, hey. Throw him in there. He did get some opportunities. If we had longer drives, maybe he gets to stay in there more. But yeah, you're right. I didn't expect over 20 carries a game kind of thing going into the season. So when we get 20 by Dalvin Cook, it's like and it's 40 yards, for the game. You're kind of like, gosh, maybe mix it up a little bit. Right. I honestly, I don't think he had great vision in that last game. He didn't stay on his feet like I would hope he would, and maybe take push for the extra yards. He steady dove for them. Who knows what happens if you break a tackle. I think there were opportunities to cut back or hit the hole faster, especially at the line, especially at the goal line. So I don't think that was Dalvin Cook's best effort. I'm not saying best game because they had a good game plan against them. I don't think don't think 100 yards was in the cards against them just because they were where their linebackers were filling the holes. I think there was we didn't do a lot of, deceptive running plays. We didn't do any, what am I saying? Like, cut this way, go that way. I literally forgot all my football terminology growing
Counters,
up.
traps,
Counter. There we go.
Fake end arounds.
I was looking for counter. We didn't do any counters where, Kirk Cousins sticks the ball out here and then, hands it going the other way. So it's like, those work. But I do give a lot of credit. KOC stuck with the run game, and that we're able to run play action pass on this. We got some more guys in here. Same people. Oh, hey, Knowledge TV, way to show up, man.
What's up, man?
Man, I had all these sounds queued up to announce your presence with authority. But hey, thanks for showing up, man. Tell us what you guys think. What the keys to victory are in the chat. We go Knowledge TV. I got David Michelson. I'm going to say Michelson until you correct me. I agree with Ryan. Need to get to White early. He spread the ball around 10 different. So they were able to throw all day. They're depleted secondary. No heart because they're basically missing their quarterback who's been hot. Right. I just feel like they just didn't have any heart in there. So there was a lot to be said about, Mike White going up against a depleted team. There is a stat out there, something about there's been 4 games over 450 yards and over 30 points over the last 4 years. And Mike White started all 3 of them. So, they had 450 yards total offense, 30 yards, 30 points scored. And Mike White started all 3 of those games. So
that's interesting.
Puncher's chance, right? But how much is that is real? How much is that's real?
Well, I think anytime you get a backup in there,
sweet,
you're not prepared for it.
Right.
You're not as prepared for the backup as you were the starting quarterback. Let's also not forget how garbage the defense for the Chicago Bears was last week. I mean, they traded away, all of their good players. They had a backup quarterback in there that was going to not be able to move the offense very well. So they, didn't have a whole lot of time possession from that standpoint. So, I mean, there's something to be said for how Mr. White looked last week. But like you said, it's at home. It's against a bad team. We'll see. He's coming into US Bank Stadium, and we're coming off of some extra rest. I like our chances. I really do. And you know what? If Mike White lights us up for the first 2.5 quarters, the way Mac Jones did, and we shut him down mid-third quarter on, okay, that's fine. What's interesting, and I don't know if you saw the one I did last Saturday, but I'm not going to pretend that this defense is okay with the way it is, and there does need to be better balance between these first parts of the game where you've got your quote-unquote scripted plays and the defense looks good, and then for 2 quarters they get chewed up in the middle of the field, and then come middle of the third and come fourth quarter, they lock the clamps down. My summation, and we talked about this actually with Tyler Fornes on Tuesday, was is Ed Donashell just saving all of his bullets for the fourth quarter? There does need to be better balance with getting a little bit more consistent pressure. And I think today is about the time to start doing that. 1, it's to get you prepped up for the playoffs. 2, you got a backup quarterback in there. 3, and we're probably going to talk about this. I don't know if I'm stepping ahead on your keys to victory, but when you're getting Dalvin Tomlinson and Caleb Evans back, those are 2 valuable pieces because your cornerbacks have been Patrick Peterson and then your 4th string guy and your 5th string guy. To get Caleb Evans back in the secondary and get Dalvin Tomlinson back on the defensive line, I think is going to pay huge dividends. So yes. So how big is it? Well, you'll actually have a guy who's designed to play nose tackle in the 3-4 defense, which is going to help out maybe not needing to expose Eric Kendricks to some long runs, as well as maybe allowing Zadarius Smith and Daniil Hunter to be able to pressure the quarterback a little bit more because they might not have to overcompensate in the run game for not having Dalvin Tomlinson back there. What do you think, Dave?
Well, I think he's suited for a 4-3 defensive tackle. I mean, he's not that big 350 guy that's gonna just clog up a nose tackle.
He's
I
the
don't.
best guy we got, is where I was.
Right. But we play him at DN, but he admirably has been playing the best year of his life until he got hurt. And I thought, again, I didn't see him before, but just statistically wise with tackles and tackles for losses, he was doing amazing. And when we lost him, we lost that extra push and the extra having to double team him on occasion. So yeah, it would clear up a Hicks and a Kendricks. And yeah, we did obviously we didn't talk beforehand, but I got all these things pop. But as you talk, I'll pop them up. And how big is having Donaldson back? I think we have done decently against the run. There are, when they're going to run 40 times, they're going to get 100 yards, right? We like the Cowboys did, but we've on most of our games we've held teams under their average, and we've held running backs on, with the Cowboys, they had under 4 yards per carry, but they ran it 40 times, and we couldn't stop them on any third downs. So having a Tomlinson back, getting pressure on the quarterback, and I'm not saying get a sack, but that collapsing the pocket.
Right.
He's him, and with him in there with the other starters, they will do better with gap integrity, rush integrity. So where they're the last game we played the Patriots, I literally saw 3 guys run into each other. Our offensive line literally our defensive line literally ran into each other. I mean, what was that? That cannot happen. And I mean, it didn't happen the whole game, but just to even happen once, it seemed like what the hell was going on that play. But let's talk about, you also brought up a Caleb Evans. Is he an upgrade? I mean, I think he is. What do you think?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. Listen, the guys filled in as admirably as they could, but there's a reason that they're 4th and 5th string guys. Okay, yes, had a nice play in Buffalo by Shelley, and okay, got away with it for a couple games here. What have I said all season regarding the defense, regarding the whole team? What is sustainable? What the guys did was akin to what if you want your backup quarterback, if your starter is down for 2, maybe 2, 3, 4 games, to be 500 in those games in his absence until he gets back, right? Similarly, that's kind of what those guys are. They're depth pieces. They're your 4th and your 5th guys that you come in the middle of a game if a guy's got to sit out a series or 2, if it gets nicked up, that sort of thing. You got everything you could possibly ask from those guys, but that was not going to be all that sustainable to me for the rest of the season. So imagine like if Dantzler and Evans were out for the rest of the year, it's like, okay, these guys are not going to be able to hold up for this long. So getting a Caleb Evans back, and again, we only have a small sample size on him, but the samples that we've seen, he's proven to be a very valuable piece. It's just like anything else. Imagine if Adam Thielen is down for 2 games. KJ Osborne, okay, he's a decent number 3 receiver. But trying to ask a KJ Osborne to be a number 2 receiver, even opposite Justin Jefferson, would still be asking a lot for that guy. So to me, getting him back, particularly Evans and hopefully Dantzler next week, to get us back to full strength in that secondary, hopefully that will allow the opportunity for Harrison Smith to get back to doing some of the things he does, to support a little bit more in the run game, to be able to come on occasional safety blitz, which we have not seen him do very often because, frankly, they haven't had the ability to with, your 4th and 5th string cornerbacks playing valuable minutes. So I think he's absolutely an upgrade, and I think that is going to, as I was saying earlier, in combination with Dalvin Tomlinson being back, starting to get your pieces healthy again. Absolutely, I do believe that Caleb Evans is an upgrade. Hard not to be at this particular point, but definitely yes for me.
And just plug Fanatics. I've been running the across the bottom 65% off Fanatics right now. Up to someone just bought this jersey I think yesterday online using my link, and I appreciate it. Go get
awesome.
Go get a JJ2K jersey. That's awesome. Thanks for supporting the channel. Now, my 2 cents on the Caleb Evans is if you guys get a chance, I did a review of him and after the draft, and I got to see him play both. I saw a lot of video from him from both schools. There was a lot on him, and he could play in any defense. He could physically. He was a press corner. He played physical. I don't know if again, I'm really big on the fact that Donatel's playing people out of, not to their abilities, and that is off the line. I think Caleb Evans could play in any defense. I gave Dantzler a lot of credit for playing in Donatel's defense, where he ended up, being comfortable to break on the ball, and disrupt the ball. I think Caleb Evans has that already, and I think I know Dantzler. I like the fact that we have Dantzler and Caleb Evans, and it's a good problem to have. I love the fact that we have that problem. Yes. These guys might not be elite. They have the opportunity to be, I think, in a scheme. They, this half the field, they're not going to fall. We're not ever going to follow receivers across the field, but they're getting picked on because nobody wants to go Peterson's way. Right. And the fact that Peterson has gotten the fountain of youth gives these guys a chance to shine. With all the pass, potentially all the pass breakups, better chance to get interceptions. These guys have a chance to shine. I do think it's a big upgrade over, just size-wise, over Duke Shelley. Duke Shelley, he's a cover guy. He is. He's quick and all that, but he's small. And he's not a tackler. Caleb Evans is. The only downside I had him coming out of college was that he was really handsy. But he obviously established himself over Booth. Booth became the handsy guy. Yeah. And then Caleb Evans, he didn't need it. And he adjusted so well to the NFL that, it was great to see. Now, I do have this is a big one. Key to victory. JJ wins the Sauce matchup. I heard on a stat on Purple Daily that they had Sauce has given up 0 yards in man-to-man coverage.
I think it was 7, but close enough.
It's 7 overall, but 0, I think. I don't know what it was. Yeah, okay.
It was some ridiculous stat.
Yeah, you're right. It's 7. I think maybe it was 7. So 7 yards in man-to-man coverage. You're right. I stand corrected. 7 yards.
Well, that's just utter insanity. What's up?
We need more than 7.
Yeah, we're going to need more than 7 from JJ today. What's up, Nick Andrews? Thanks for joining us. I'll say this. If you told me right now that Justin Jefferson was going to have 2 catches for 33 yards, I would say the likelihood of the Vikings winning that game would probably be very, very low. Having said that, if it is one of those deals where they are going to be able to take Justin Jefferson away, that gets back to what we talked about earlier about how well they spread the ball around against the New England Patriots. You want to get Justin Jefferson involved early. You want to get him some early touches. But you don't want to force feed him for the sake of force feeding him. You want to be able to let the defense know where the guy is and that he is a threat, but you have plenty of other players available to you on offense. So, if Sauce Gardner finds a way to shut Justin Jefferson down, but Adam Thielen ends up with, 9 catches for 130 and KJ Osborne ends up with 7 catches for 90 to 110, okay, that's fine and dandy. But bottom line is this. We've been proclaiming Justin Jefferson as the best wide receiver in the league. This rookie, he is on his way to not only being a Pro Bowler, but possibly an All-Pro. But this is what you want. You want to be able to go up against somebody like him, to see where you stand, not just individually, but as a team. If this guy's going to lock down our best player, what happens if we don't have that chip to play with? Can we still manage offensively to put up 27 points? If you're asking me what I think is going to happen, I don't think he's going to go off for 9 catches and 150 plus yards today. If he did, I'd be ecstatic because that would be insane for one of the top 2 or 3 cornerbacks in the NFL. But does he have to dominate the matchup? Not necessarily. I think that if he ends up putting up a goose egg, we're in trouble. But I think he's going to have to the Vikings are going to have to understand that teams are going to try to take Justin Jefferson away. And sometimes they will be completely unsuccessful, and sometimes they will be successful. What do you do when your best player is taken out? It's like playing chess. If one team sacrifices queens, can you play without your queen? And I'm not trying to be anything funny about that.
I'm no good without my queen.
Yeah. Some players will intentionally sacrifice their queen knowing that their opponent is completely hamstrung without playing with the queen on the board.
The only time I would sacrifice my queen if I sacrifice my queen, I can take their queen right away. So yeah, I would rather play without queens on the board. So yeah, I know what I'm saying.
That's who Justin Jefferson and Sauce Gardner are on. They're the two queens on the chessboard. Some players can very easily play without their queen, and some players don't have a clue what to do with it. So again, where I'm going with all of this is an opportunity to see where you stand. You're going up against another good defensive team, and as we said earlier, for me anyway, I think they're the best team left on the schedule. Having said all that, I don't think he needs to dominate the game, and I don't think he needs to like utterly destroy Sauce Gardner for the Vikings to win this game. That's where I'm at with it. He's got to do something, but he doesn't have to be ultra JJ, 9 catches, 150 plus yards.
What about this question? When do you think Darrisaw's coming back? For me, I'm thinking, looking at the fact that he hasn't practiced yet, I don't think he comes back next week.
Here's what I think. I think if the Vikings win this game, that puts the chances of Christian Darrisaw being back next week at about 20%.
I agree.
I think if they lose this game, then it's, kind of 50-50, see where he is. If they win this game, whether Detroit loses today or not, and we clinch the division today or not, is immaterial. They win. Their magic number is 2. We all know that. So,
well, I think it also maybe depends on how well Brandel plays.
That as well. And as well as how well the offensive line holds up. How much adjusting you have to do with, maybe taking a third receiver out and playing 2 tight ends like we talked about earlier. So I think it depends. It's a very good question, Ryan. I think that if they lose this game, then they're going to try and maybe push for him, if he's healthy, to get back. I think if they win this game, especially if Detroit loses today as well, I think if the Vikings clinch the division today, that I would say that they're probably going to hold Christian Darrisaw out next week. So, and I don't necessarily blame him for that move. I mean, we should be, if we can beat the Jets at home today without Christian Darrisaw, we should be able to go beat the Lions on the road without Christian Darrisaw, because that means they've made their adjustments to help the offensive line out. But good question, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think, Dave?
I totally agree with all that. It depends on how the offensive line is playing. It depends on, you don't want to think that it's true. I mean, if he's 100% and they're not playing him, it's because we're winning and because the offensive line is holding up. So that can be true. And we're not going to rush him back because we are 9-2. That also can be true. That he is injured, and he's still injured, and that's why we're not playing him or not going to practice him. That can be all true. So we have no idea. The NFL's rules allow them to do this right now, and they're going to take it all advantage of not, telling people when they're going to be back, so they don't have to game plan for him. I don't think until I see him practice, I have him at 0% chance. So Tuesday next week, if we practices, I think he plays. If he doesn't practice, the first full practice is when I say he's 100% and we're going to play him. That's the first full practice. I believe that, because if it's not if it's a limited practice, he doesn't play. He don't play at all because he's not getting the reps. Right? He's not getting the reps. So that's what I got to say for that. Now, hey, make sure you're hitting like on the show. Get this pushed out there. We've broken 20 viewers, and I appreciate it. I think this is probably going to be our biggest pregame I've done so far. So that's awesome. Notice I am improving. So thank you for sticking with me as far as, being able to work these buttons. But hey, I got the pro over here on my left, and I'm learning from him. I'm learning from Rap. Yeah, I'm glad.
See, this button pushing isn't as easy as it looks.
That's why I never wanted to do it. That's why I averted from doing this. And I'm on the opposite side, so I'm looking the wrong direction. So I don't know what to do there. But yeah, there's that is a really good question. And yeah, that's my brother.
I was going to say, I thought that was you, and then I'm like, no, it's Daniel.
That's my brother.
What's up,
Shout out to Dan over in Washington State, the guy that taught me everything.
That's kind of funny. My brother's name is Daniel as well, so there you go, Dave.
Yeah, Dan, Dave, and Darren, the 3 Ds.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's our names. My dad
and my from high school was his name was Darren.
Yeah, my dad's middle name was Dale.
Yeah.
My son's named Marvin. My dad's named Marvin. So
All right, there you go.
We went with that. But yeah, I mean, gosh, a quick shout out, check Foreman44.com. Use SKOL15 at checkout. Look down below. I'm giving away that jersey way the hell over there. Point at it for me. Can you point at it for me?
No.
No, you got it. Yeah, Chuck Foreman. I'm used to be on your side. Check Foreman44.com. It's autographed. It's right behind me.
There you go.
I can point at it. We're also giving in 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks. We're giving away the bobblehead. I guess Justin can give it away on the air. He's going to be going solo. Are you going to be bringing someone on the show with you yet?
Well, I've asked about 24 people. If one of them says yes,
did you ask Jade yet?
I haven't asked her.
Go ask Jade.
I put a message. I think she'll come on. We'll see.
Yeah, go ask Jade.
You know what? If I got to if I got to be under both lights, I'll sweat it out, and I'll be doing a lot of crowd participation that day. But I've got a couple of irons in the fire. I didn't want to ask too many people, and then have 4 people say yes to me, and then say never mind to them. So I've been going with the slow burn here a little bit.
You got time. Oh, and Tuesday, as of right now, and I mean he hasn't. I mean, he said he was going to do it. Greg Coleman, our famous punter,
pregame preacher,
pregame preacher, sideline reporter at one point for K-Fan. I didn't know when did he stop doing. My brother actually, since I moved away a long time ago, right? I'm not listening to Minnesota radio, but my brother would send me, clips of and that's how I found out he was doing that, and it was awesome. I would love for him to do it on our show, but I'm not going to ask. But yeah, he's gonna be on the show, man. First African American kicker in the NFL. That guy was he broke a glass ceiling. You just didn't. That did not happen until he was the first punter in the NFL. He's a great ambassador for the game, man.
Absolutely.
All these old ex-Vikings, man, they are great ambassadors of the game. I just want to reach out to him. Hopefully Chuck Foreman can introduce us to some people. Nice. He's going to be on our show in a couple, probably in a couple of weeks. What are we, week 12 right now? So he wanted to come 13. Back week 14. He wanted to come back. Yeah. Is it 13? No, it's 12 because we're 9-2.
Yeah, we had a bye week.
This is 12 then. 9-2 is 11. This is 12.
Oh, excuse me. You're right.
Yeah. So in like 2 weeks, hopefully we get Chuck Foreman back and he can, the sideline sermon. Is that what he called it?
Sideline sermon, pregame preach. He called it a couple different things.
Yeah, my brother is asking me if I got a hold of Adam Thielen yet. I'm not going to count my chickens yet, but I am waiting till the off season, Dan. My brother is my half brother, and his mom was Adam Thielen's librarian, and apparently Adam Thielen was very fond of my brother's mom, and she was, he went to high school. She was the librarian for him, so obviously the librarian. Everybody knows the librarian. I know in my school it's like every day you're seeing the librarian. So yeah, hopefully I'll try to, and we had one of our listeners, I think Jeffers, he calls himself. He said he's good friends with Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. So
is that right?
Yeah, I tried to reach out to him, but on his YouTube, but. Hopefully he becomes a listener again and we can connect. But hey, I'm going to be trying to reach out to those guys in the off season. I don't want to bother them now. I don't think I'd get anywhere now, not in a playoff run like this. But hey, I'm going to be trying hard in the off season to actually get players. I also had a connection with a friend of Bullard. So hopefully we can try to get, him on the phone or him on the show at some point.
That'd be awesome.
He says his friends. He says he's got to watch me a little more before he introduces me.
All right, fair enough.
I'm like, okay, talk good about Bullard, and I did. He saw my video, and that's why he reached out to me. Is he saw my video on Bullard, which was my second biggest video I ever did, and I praised him because he was a monster in college. So let me catch up here. We got Bruno. Thanks. Will be
Bruno?
hard. I agree, man. Going into the Jets game, I said I didn't want to judge us on Patriots game. I did not want to judge us on the Patriots game because it was a short week and we're playing against a Hall of Fame coach. I didn't want to judge us on that. I wanted to judge us on the Jets game coming off a 10-day 10 days of rest and how we prepare for that, because we come out absolute crap. That will remind me every bye week under the Zimmer administration, or we came out flat, and that can't happen. I want to come out strong. I feel like we will. We did the last bye, I feel, and we got a win, I believe, right? What game was the bye? It was the game after Miami, right?
It was the game after Miami. That would have been Arizona that we came out of the bye against.
And we offensively, we played really well. And we caused turnovers, I think 3 maybe. There was
3. Yeah, we had 2 interception by Harrison, 1 by Bynum, and then the muff punt. So yes, 3 turnovers total.
Yeah, so we played really good. We played better than they did and got the win. We struggled just like we always do in every game at some point. But hey, that was Jets D is I think even probably better than the Patriots right now. Because obviously we got 380 yards on them. Yeah, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. That's my brother reminded me where they were from. He married a good old Minnesota girl, and they're all over the country. You're talking, I guess, Cottage Grove. Let's see. What's man pause?
I think he meant man please. I don't know. I don't know where Rap was going with that, but
Man pause.
Rap, you got with that, Rap?
Do you got manopause?
Manopause.
Let me capture this really quick. That Rap's got manopause. I just captured that.
Oh, I think maybe he's trying to make a joke.
I'm gonna add an A in that.
Maybe he's trying to play off what Bruno said when he said Jets D will be hard. I don't know.
Oh man, please. Okay, I got it. Oh yeah, sorry.
Maybe that's where he was going.
Why are you on the Jets D?
Okay, let's. Even when Rap's not with us, Rap's always with us. I think we're just gonna have
that's
to
the best one of the day.
Yeah.
Why are you on the Jets D? I don't know. I got some statistics for you for that. Let's pull up some Jets D.
Just don't pull out Jets D, okay?
I'm not gonna pull out my D.
Okay,
here we go.
Now see, here we go.
Jets defense, 308 yards, man. That's probably why.
Yes.
They're 4th and they're 5th in points given up. That's probably why. And apparently their corners are awesome, and they got a little bit of a pass rush going on. We'll see what they got, man. I think it's as strong. Hopefully we know how to beat good defenses after we beat the Patriots. So
Buffalo's a good defense too. Let's not forget about them too. And we did that in their house.
Yeah, Buffalo. It was overtime, obviously. Oh yeah, overtime. We got some extra yards off of that, but yeah, sure. I think we to come back on a defense is super impressive. Like, we're down 17 to be able to come back on a defense. But this is the Jets offense, and it's, and I know Rap probably say something, we still listening. Mike White is now the new quarterback. I brought that stat up earlier that the 3 games in the last 4 years that they had 350 and 30 point or 450 yards and 30 points. Mike White was the quarterback, but this is their offense over the entire year. Obviously, Mike White had one of those games, the last game they played. So obviously this may change. Their offense may be improved, but here's what I'm thinking. He's now coming into hostile territory, loud as hell. Mm-hmm. He's not going to have that same ease against the Bears defense like he had, because they're depleted. They had no heart. What say you on the Jets offense coming into the bank? What are they going to look like?
They're going to look like a team that, and I said this in my review on Monday, you know how sometimes a team has just got some sort of schism, and then things are not going right, the culture's wrong, and they fire a coach.
Word of the day, schism.
Yes. We got to bring that one back. Thank you. After this, Brett Favre.
Put that up.
Yeah, there you go. In all seriousness, sometimes when a team fires a coach mid-season, the first game or two, the team has a little bit of a resurgence, saying, okay, ding dong, the witch is dead. To a certain extent, now it happened in the offseason, but that's a little bit of what has been going on here with the Vikings, is that, okay, got a new change. Benching a quarterback that completely threw his entire team under the bus, took no responsibility whatsoever for his portion and why games have gone the way they have offensively for those guys, sometimes just taking one piece out and making a change like that can inspire and invigorate you. Now, they had a lot of things going for them last week, like we talked about. Went to a backup quarterback who's been a journeyman, had a couple of good games here and there, got rid of the guy that was, frankly, a cancer to the team. I mean, he's still on the team and he's the backup, I guess. But bottom line is he was a position of leadership like quarterback, and you change and you bring in a new guy. Okay, we feeling good about ourselves. Like we talked about, you went up against a terrible Chicago Bears team, both offensively and defensively. Part of what I have said about the Vikings is there are times where offensively they don't help out the defense at times. And it's not necessarily, I mean, obviously it would be great to score points every drive, but sometimes it's about putting a drive together just to give your defense about 5 or 6 minutes worth of rest, even if all you do is flip field position. Excuse me for just a moment. Sorry about that. So, yeah, you got everything you could possibly have wanted. You had a new guy coming in. You had a change of thought process, a change in leadership at the quarterback position. So, to me, yeah, going to be a little bit of a different test. You're going up against a better team. You're going up a team that has an offense that's not just going to be going through. I mean, the Bears put up, 10 points last week? 10 points? Is that what it was? 31-10 was the final score, I think. So,
yeah, something like that.
What I titled my preview video was Mike White is not going to be turning into Heisenberg, going back to the old Breaking Bad reference of Walter White being this pitiful guy that, became a drug kingpin, so to speak. I don't know if you haven't watched Breaking Bad, you might not get the reference. But the point is that no, Mike White is going to be going into hostile territory.
That's his name, isn't that the character of the show?
Mike White? The character's name is Walter White. This guy's Mike White.
Oh, Walter White. Okay.
One of the characters, Jesse Pinkman in the show, always called him Mr. White because he was his high school chemistry teacher. So we've gone with the Mr. White thing this week. So
I got to watch it. I haven't done it yet.
So the point I'm making here is that, that character went into a big transformation between just mediocre, high school chemistry teacher to drug pin king guy. And it's not going to happen today. And if it does happen today, then we've got some problems, to say the least. But no, I don't see a performance like that. I'm not saying that the Jets can't win this game because their defense is really, really good. And they may only need to put up 24 points against us. I said that you got to get to 27. It's a race to 27. Get to 27, we're going to be fine. Less than that, well, we're going to be in for another one of those long nail-biting games. But I think the Vikings are going to pull this out. I don't think that White's going to be able to come into our house. We saw what Mac Jones did. They've had an extra time to prepare, to make some adjustments. We're getting some key defensive players back like we talked about earlier. So, no, I don't see Mike White having another one of those performances. What do you think, Dave?
Same deal. He's going to be playing on the road. He's coming off that high. These guys are wearing T-shirts with his face on it. Mike effing White or something like that. And how does that make you? Anybody that was friends with the last player, the last quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're wearing now the same players you were fighting with are now wearing, a T-shirt of the other. Where were they at when the other quarterback was, trying his, I'm imagining he was trying his hardest. Where were you guys at? I think that kind of divides the locker room a little bit, of, hey, now I got 5 or 6 guys wearing, Mike effing White T-shirts, it's a difference.
I'll say this. That's his own fault.
Well, I agree, man. I agree. It's an upgrade. Mike White is an upgrade because of what the, previous quarterback was about.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel, what do we got here? Based, Jaren. I'm not up. I know what based. I kind of know what based means. But hey, I'm not with today's jargon. I don't know if you are. The Vikings are the only team that gets bashed for winning games. Yeah, true. No other 9-2 winning close games like the Vikings would be picked against in a game with a team QBs by Mike White. QB by Mike. I might as well just not even read these. I'm sorry, but hey, I put up there. So yes, we get picked in all the time for anything we do. We win, it's not good enough. We lose, it's I told you so, or hey, we got lucky. Everything's I don't know how many times I've heard hey, we got lucky. And no, it is based on what Kevin O'Connell was doing on the offseason, and that was he was preparing us in situational football, and it's opportunity meets preparation, and I don't think there's any better example of it than what Kevin O'Connell has done for offense. A quick update. I think my brother actually just sent this. He goes, "Hi, Adam. I am Detroit. I am from Detroit Lakes. My mom was your librarian back in the day." Johan Mark, my brother does SKOL World on Facebook. I know you're a busy man. If you could please take a minute and find it on Facebook and maybe comment on the program, it'd definitely be appreciated. I don't know. I think he had his mom send that. I don't know, but thanks, Dan, for pushing me to get Adam Thielen, my favorite current Viking, on the show.
Appreciate you, brother. What's up, Jade?
What's up? Jade's streaming right now. Always go check her out. She streams during the game. She's a friend of the program. We're a friend of her programs.
Absolutely.
Go get your horoscope done over Sports and Stars with Jade. I can't wait to see. She already put it out, so I guess I got to go look at it. What our hopes are winning this game. There are people out there saying we're gonna lose. Like, Colin Cowherd is picking against us. 65% of the betting, I guess, is going on the Jets.
It's close to 2/3. Yep.
Yeah, is going on the Jets. I think we're favored by 3, so people are probably doing that. But that's, again, the lack of respect for us not be able to cover at home against the Jets. So, yeah, complete disrespect again. Kirk is your favorite by far. No matter what I say, he's got to say something. Adam Thielen is a freaking legend in my books.
Yeah,
if anybody comes out of where he came out of, he had a basketball scholarship, decided to play football, ends up getting a tryout because he paid his own way to a regional combine. He says he ran a 4.4. You can say that because it was a 4.49. And it gets an invitation to camp, gets cut, gets put on the practice squad, comes back, and the next year gets on the roster. We still don't want to play him. He blocks a punt, runs it in for a touchdown.
Yeah, I remember that.
Play of the week. It was awesome. And then he still doesn't get a play. Finally, Diggs breaks out. He doesn't get a dress for the games. Diggs, he gets hurt. Thielen comes in, and all he does is go for 100 yards. And now he's the NFL tied for the NFL record of most 100-yard games in a row. Is that right? Does he have it solely? I think it's like 8 or 9 games.
I know he was at least for when that streak was.
He's at least tied with it. But he's the NFL record holder. So man, if we win a Super Bowl this year or next year, we win a Super Bowl, they need to do a freaking movie on Adam Thielen. What do you guys think? Tell me, should a movie be made about Adam Thielen, one of the biggest underdog stories in the history of the NFL?
That's a good question.
You agree with that?
Well, definitely a 30 for 30. I don't know about a movie. Rap, are you serious? I'm sorry. Rap is always no, the one next to that. Is Kirk Cousins your favorite, or is Darisaw your favorite? Anyway, I want to go back.
I heard you talking bad about JJ last night, man. You're talking bad about JJ. How Sauce is gonna lock him down.
Yeah, JJ is gonna go for negative catches.
I can put words in your mouth too. Triple P.
Yeah, triple P.
If you guys haven't listened to Purple Pocket Podcast, I do a live show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometimes if he makes it, Thursdays he makes a Tuesday show, but we did one Tuesday and Thursday this past week, and go listen to him. He's a friend of the program. You guys listen probably already know who he is, but hey, I still want to push him anyways. He's the Purple MLK. He's bringing all the fans together. What else do I call him? I don't know. I call him a lot. I call him a lot of things. I don't call it, but I don't tell him on air.
Right.
So.
Right. In all seriousness, I did want to get back to a point that Based made about the 49ers. Go back up there. First, he said, Jets fan who respects the Vikings. Thanks for beating the Bills and Finns. You're right. And Pats. Yeah, absolutely. But yes, what have I been saying for months? That the 49ers are a dangerous team. But to his point, 49ers being lauded as dangerous, they have 4 losses against weak scheduled teams in the league. There's some truth to what you're saying. But keep in mind, too, that the 49ers started off with Trey Lance this year.
Yeah.
And whatever you want to say about Jimmy Garoppolo and the comparisons to Kirk Cousins, this, that, and the third, the guy knows how to win. Okay. So what I have said was keep an eye out for San Francisco. Even when Seattle was undefeated, and I said, nah, Seattle's not winning that division. The 49ers are. Their offensive line and defensive line are bad matchups for the Vikings. They're the one team that I'm not going to say I'd be afraid to play them in the playoffs, particularly at home, but they're a team that I think we match up. I think we match up worse against the 49ers than even Dallas and Philly. And I'm not saying that I'd rather play those other two teams, but what I am saying is San Francisco is battle tested. They went into Lambeau Field and beat Aaron Rodgers, held him to 10 point. Okay. They very easily could have beaten the Rams last year and gone back to the Super Bowl. So I don't want to get into the discussion about is Jimmy G overrated, underrated, whatever the case may be. All I know is that is a tough-nosed football team that knows how to play in December and January. I'm not saying that the Vikings would, absolutely get killed by them, but what I am going to say is they are being a touch overlauded, so I don't necessarily disagree with the statement, but I understand why people looking at that team as something to say, hey, watch out for this team, the proverbial team that nobody wants to play come playoff time, because they have that playoff pedigree.
So my viewpoint on the 49ers and comparing them to other teams, I think here's where I think the difference is. Yes, I honestly think offensive line, defensive line, we're a bad match to any team that's strong. We're pretty average in both those categories. We're pretty average, and we play dominant teams. We've played well at times, like like I said, Buffalo and the Patriots. We played well. But on other times, like the Eagles and Cowboys, we got freaking decimated in the trenches. And I'm thinking, in the situation there, Dallas and San Fran in my book are the same there. Where I feel like we match up better is Garoppolo wants to throw picks.
True,
he makes
very true.
Decisions, and I would take that over Dallas or the Eagles. Garoppolo wants to throw the ball. In 2019, we couldn't move the ball. Garoppolo was making bad decisions.
He was trying to let us back in that game.
He was trying to let us back in that game, and we just didn't want to do it. We couldn't move the ball to save our life.
No, you're 100% right. And eventually,
that's where
Shanahan said, we're just going to run the ball. You're not passing anymore. We're not
passing the ball anymore. We do not want Garoppolo to let the Vikings back in this game, and that's where I think the difference is. So that being said, so what
anybody else in the chat here? I'll tell you what, we're wrapping in a little
again
while,
I'm losing track here, but let me Vikings black blue and we're done with them.
Junio Rudy has a good one there.
Mike Black, he's calling him. I don't know, Mike White. So I hate people back. We already talked about that. Based testing on the weakest schedule in the league. So how is this battle tested against the weakest schedule in the league? Actually, our schedule was ranked 9th of the schedule we've already played. Moving forward, we got the weakest schedule in the league. But yeah, so am I reading that right?
I think he might be referring to the 49ers. What I'm talking about when I say battle tested, I'm talking about
the 49ers weakest. I'm looking at their schedule right now.
Why don't you pull that up?
So is this right? 9-11, yeah. The Chicago Bears loss. That was horrible.
And a bad field.
It was pouring rain. They got a crap quarterback in there. And when he got hurt, I actually said, hey, they have actually probably gotten better. They beat the Seahawks, turning out to be a pretty good win, right? Denver, they lost 10-11. That game,
that's a bad
they got the ball within the 5-yard line. I don't know how many times that they had to go the entire field. Special teams killed San Fran that week because they were kept getting pinned back, and they had to go the whole length of the field. I actually watched that game. It was a struggle, and mainly because they had to go the entire length of the field. They were kept getting pinned back. It was field position game. They kept losing that. That was a tough game for them. Honestly, I felt they were the better team. The Rams beat the Rams. Everybody's beating the Rams. Carolina Panthers, they crushed them. Tell me a team that we beat 37-15.
Yeah.
Lost to the Falcons. That's probably a bad That was on the road. They got probably surprised. I don't know. Lost to Kansas City. They got blown out 44-23. Crushed the Rams again. Chargers beat them 22-16, and that was at home. That's a good win, I think. Arizona Cardinals 38-10. Crushed it. Show me a team we beat 38-10. You know, okay, we got maybe one victory like that. New Orleans, New Orleans, they shut out. New Orleans is offensively, they had some offensive weapons, right? And they scored 0 points, and they're playing the Dolphins today. So
that's going to be a fun game, and that's what I said in my last one. Is that outside of our game, that's the game I'm looking forward to, because we played the Dolphins, but we played them without Tua. We'll know today what's going on with San Francisco. That's a very good test for them, to say the least. But to the point that I was trying to make earlier, and I don't know if it came across this way, when I say that the 49ers are battle tested, I'm not just talking about this season. I'm talking about realistically,
they've been around, right?
Since 2019, they went to the Super Bowl. They've been to another NFC Championship game, a game that they had.
Packers last year, right?
They beat the Packers last year in the playoffs.
The same team.
Pretty much the same team. So I'm not just talking about this year. I am talking about over the course of the last 3 or 4. Let me tell you a quick story about that divisional that game against the Packers. So my girlfriend and I were actually at a Minnesota Wild game, and we were facing the Chicago Blackhawks. And the Chicago Blackhawks to the Minnesota Wild are like what the Packers are to the Vikings. They're our main rival. And there was a decent amount of Chicago Blackhawk fans there. And so when they scored goals, you could hear them cheering. And obviously when the Wild scored goals, you could hear us cheering with the goal horn and everything else. But I remember as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the Packers 49ers game, everybody's looking at their phones, looking at the score, looking at whatever else. And I remember in the section below us, I hear this uproar of cheers, and I'm like, there's nothing going on in this game. Like, somebody didn't score, somebody didn't have a big check or something like that. Well, at the next whistle stoppage, they went on the PA system and announced that the 49ers had beaten the Packers, and it was louder because every fan was cheering and happy that the Packers had lost. So we put our rivalry with the Blackhawks on hold for about 5 minutes because everybody was cheering. Oh, yeah,
that's what I was saying. I tell Chicago fans when I meet them, I say, well, hey, we got something in common. We both hate the Packers.
Absolutely.
So, base, you're making all sorts of good points. We agree half the time. I don't know who said the Jets had a good offense. They had some good players. Their rookie, what's his name? Garrett. Yeah, Garrett from Ohio State, right?
Ohio State.
Yeah, so he's having a real good year for a rookie. But like I said, Mike White has had 3 outstanding games for the Jets where they put up 30 points as a starter. Not saying he's going to do that. We've both advocated the fact that he won't do that against us. But hey, it's still, it has happened, and he did it against the depleted Bears team. If you watch the Jets, actually have a dangerous team. So yeah,
they have a solid offense. They have a really good running game, and they have decent.
I think we got a Jets fan here.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining. Hey, we respect your team, man. We have a lot of respect for your team. We didn't at the beginning of the season. You've earned it since.
They absolutely have.
You have earned it since. And okay, that makes sense then. All right.
And I'll say this: what we said earlier. Maybe you didn't hear what I said. I said that of the 6 remaining games that the Vikings have, I think this is the toughest game they have left.
Yeah,
so absolutely,
I agree too, man. I honestly, I still feel like the Lions is the we've talked about trap games all year. I have not used that on any of the games. The Detroit game to me is the trap game. We're on the road.
Particularly if they win the division today, yes.
Yeah, it's a trap. We win the division today. We go play the Lions on the road, and all of a sudden their offense goes off and our offense doesn't. And God knows what our defense will do from week to week. That, my friends, is the epitome of a trap game. But hey, the good news about that is that it's not a must-win game anymore. These aren't must-win games anymore. Because a must-win game for me is if first seed is on the line, which we're a game and a half back basically, when it comes to that, and we're making the playoffs. If a home game in the playoff is on the line, or for number 1 seed is on the line, or if we don't make the playoffs, so we lose. Those are must-win games for me.
Well, if we're going to go down the road of the number 1 seed, then all games are must-wins because Philly's got to lose 2 more than we do, and there's only 6 games left.
Game and a half out. I mean, okay, every game's a must-win because we're game and a half out then. Right. Every game because they're not. Yes. We got to rely on them to win 2. So I'm not going to say it's a must-win game. I'm going to say if we're in the last game of the season, and if we win, win and they lose, and we're going to win the bye, that's a must-win game. But that's just too narrow of a speculation for me. But I feel like it's more off of this game will determine it again, like the Patriots and the Jets. They're not division games. They're not even conference games. They're the only way they're a tiebreaker is the fact that we got one more win. So it's tough to call a game like this a must-win game. But I feel like who knows, maybe that Packers and Bears game maybe must-win games for us to get that first seed. So who knows? Maybe we're playing starters. I almost kind of feel this, and I'm going to put this out there. Tell me what you think. Mm-hmm. If we get to the last 2 games of the season, right? It almost feels like that I almost want the first seed out of reach for us to rest our guys those last 2 games, for the fact that the way it's set up is that the Cowboys got to play the Eagles, and the Cowboys could beat the Eagles, and we're going to get the home damn game anyways.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Dallas has got the tiebreaker on us every bit as much as Philadelphia does. So
they're a lower seed. We get the home game in the NFC title game.
True. Whichever one of those 2 teams does not win the division would be a lower seed.
So that's what I'm saying. So if the Eagles win the division, the Cowboys aren't. That is going to be the NFC title game if the Cowboys beat the Eagles in like the second round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That is a home game for us then. So
you're saying,
I almost feel like if it plays out the way it is, and we can rest our guys in the Bears game, or even play half the Packers game.
They're not going to do that. I'll tell you why. They will definitely, if there's nothing on the line, like they've already wrapped up the 2 seed, they've kept San Francisco at bay for the 2 seed, and there's 0 chance of catching the Eagles for the 1 seed or the Cowboys for the 1 seed for that matter. If somehow, some way the Cowboys manage to pick up a couple games on Philly, you're right. They will not play their starters in the Chicago Bear game. There's no way that they're not going to be able to determine during the Green Bay game that they have nothing left to play for. They're going to play that game out regardless.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be a situation where we're 3 games out of the first seed. So that would be the only say is that we would play half the game and then, schedule that and play half the game and rest the rest of the game. I'm just saying that that's a potential possibility because I've seen that happen. That has happened to other teams. Whether or not we do it, like let's say we're halfway through the game, and we're 3 games back, or we're 2 games back, right? We're 2 games back for the first seed. We got 2 games left. They have the tiebreaker,
right?
Why play us why play the whole? I want to say that we're going to play half the game just to get that work in and sit the second half, and then that's the scenario for me. As we go into the last game of the season, they're 2 games up on us. Mm-hmm. I say we're probably going to play half the Packers game with starters, and they're on the road in the cold. I just don't see us risking it on both games. I agree.
I'm sorry.
I mean, that's but you see that as a potential, right? It's potentially
there's a possibility. I'll say it like this: today's game is going to be opposite of ours. Here's the deal. The only way the Vikings are going to catch the Eagles is if they lose today to the Titans, because if they beat the Titans between the Giants twice, the Cowboys once, sandwiched around with the Bears and the Saints, we know they're going to win those 2 games. I'd be utterly shocked if they lost one of those 2. I don't see the Giants sweeping them. I see the Giants at best getting 1, but that's an at best. And I will definitely say the Cowboys have a chance to catch them there. But to your point, now that I thought that they played the Cowboys the last week of the season. They don't. They play the Giants. So you're right. After Christmas weekend, they play the Cowboys Christmas Eve. So at that particular point in time, we're going to know a lot, and we'll have enough information to say, yes, it's within reach, or no, that it's not. But I see where you were going a minute ago, where if Philly wins the division and the Vikings take care of business in the wild card round and the division round of the playoffs, and Dallas goes to Philly and upsets them, then yes, we'd have the title game at home. So I get what you're saying, but you're definitely going to rest your players against Chicago. You don't want to rest too many weeks, though. We've seen what happens when, you take 2 weeks off, and it could be a little difficult getting back into rhythm. So
just imagine this. This is worst case scenario for me. We go into the Bears game. We're both tied. Us and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
They win. We win. We have injuries. That's the worst case scenario for me. So I would almost rather, and I don't want us to lose. I want to. Here's my scenario: both of us went out, and we're awesome. We got a 15-2 record. They got a 15 they got a 16-1 record, and they lose in the playoffs. And we go face the Cowboys at home. That's almost to me a better scenario than us having to play that last game. You know what I'm saying? And
it would be nice to have some of that.
We know the Soldier Field is the worst place to play.
True.
That and Philly are the two worst fields in the league. And do we really want to face them in the snow and whatever? And even getting backups hurts kind of sucks, So that's the kind of crap game that I did when I saw those two games on the road at the end of the year.
Yeah,
I was like, what a shit schedule to have that have all our home games early in the season, which worked out for us, which was good. And then have all our away games at the end of the season. I would have totally wanted that flipped.
Yeah.
Totally wanted that flipped, right? But hey, that's the way it worked.
Yeah, it is.
Let's answer Junio Rudy. Average. It's played average. It was trending to above average, but lately it has been pretty average. We've given up as many sacks this year already as we did last year for the entire season. A lot of it had to do with the Eagles. Well, we had a game where we gave up 4 sacks, and then the Cowboys, we gave up 7. There was a couple other 3 games in there. We've had some really good running games, and then we've had some bad ones. So we're known for our running, our run blocking, and we do have some. But we got Darrisaw out. He's our starting left tackle. He's probably one of the top 3, potentially the best left tackle in the league in the next couple of years. So he's out with concussion. He's probably not even going to play next week. So, hey, you picking us at a good time. Our right guard, although he gave up only 1 pressure last week, had been inconsistent the previous 5 or 6 weeks, I want to say.
Right.
And it has been our Achilles heel. So unlike the Patriots, you may want to line your best player up against him and rush him all game. Patriots did not. And we won that game, and it has a lot to do with they did not challenge him, but maybe one time, and that one time they did, Juden jumped the snap, beat him on the inside, and Kirk had to get and he held him, and we got a first down called back because of it. So hey, cost us a touchdown, we got the 3 points, but hey, that is our weakness, and you can exploit it.
I'll say this. First off, what's up, Shane? Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, why don't you take down the comments so we get the channels put up there. If you're watching on Dave's page, please subscribe to mine. It's Purple and Go for Days. If you're watching on my page, please subscribe to Dave's. That's sorry, Minnesota Sports Talk. Sorry about that. Yeah, you got to kill all the banners too.
Man.
You can leave the scroller going. That'll be fine. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. We got a couple minutes left here. Put your score predictions in there. And if you haven't gone to Purple Pocket Podcast, even though Rap tries to stir the pot and, get us going all the time, we're still going to send some love his way. Go to Purple Pocket Podcast. 1, hit the subscribe button. And 2, go to his community page. You must get your predictions in before the start of the game. But all you need to do is put a post in there with your score prediction. He runs a little bit of a funny money lottery. I think the pot is up to $42. If you guess the exact correct score with the correct teams, you can't just say 27-24 and hope that's how the game ends. You actually have to pick a team to win. But if you get that score, you get that pot. It's a little something our friend Ramp is doing there. I believe he said it was up to $42 this week. But when this video is done, or open up a new tab, go to Purple Pocket Podcast. Just put a score prediction in on his community tab. You get entered in. It's free to enter. No strings attached. It's just for fun. David's got us 31-28 today. I said 27-24 on my channel. What did you have, Dave, for the score today?
24-17. So don't take that one. I don't want to split the money.
And don't take mine either. I already got one other person who's got mine. So
we got 4 minutes left. We have the
34-10. I like it, Shane. I like it.
The 5th best sack rate with one of the worst blitz rates. So that's good to know. Yeah. So that's what I heard about the Jets. They don't blitz. They come with 4.
Right. No.
So they
don't
with
need
4.
to.
They don't apparently they don't need to.
No.
So that actually helps us a little bit because I think that they don't blitz at all, because that I feel like had been a problem with communication, because I don't know how many times early in the season I saw Bradbury and Ingram not block anybody because they blitzed a guy and they go to double team a guy that doesn't even come in. So that was a little bit of my worry. Yeah. Maybe they change it up. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe the Jets change it up. But a team that can come with 4 is always dangerous because, hey, they can leave everybody back in coverage, and maybe that's why their defense has been so successful. We can't. We don't have 4. I feel like we need to mix it up. We need to disguise that coverage. What is it? Simulate pressure.
Right.
Where we and that's where we were the most successful. Yeah. I think we had this little bit of dispute with Forno and me, that I was saying, hey, we were successful at the end of the game. But he says, well, how do you don't want to, and you talk about bullets and stuff and not, using all your bullets. I want a 14-point lead in the first quarter. That's what I want. I want us to use those to get the lead. I mean, when you're 2 scores down, there's a difference, man. There's a complete difference, right?
I think we're all saying the same thing. We're saying that, okay, getting run for the first 2.5 quarters is playing with fire. And guess what happened against Dallas? You couldn't even begin to try to put that fire out because the game was out of hand. I understand to a point where Donatell is going, but there needs to be somewhere in between the two ends of the extreme. You can't blitz every play. You can't show your exotic looks in the first quarter or the second quarter and then try to use that same exotic look again, because the offense will have had time to see it on tape, see it on the iPad, and make some adjustments and be prepared for it the next time. Sometimes a blitz is the element of surprise. And so I think part of it is he doesn't want to give away, his blitz packages, because he doesn't feel like the secondary will hold up if you do it too often. That's one thing I was talking to a guy this morning at church was, why don't we do what we did with Zimmer? I said, because we don't have a Xavier Rhodes in his prime. Patrick Peterson, Hall of Famer. He's got, the cunning and guile of a veteran, but he's not what Xavier Rhodes was in 2017. And whoever else is playing opposite him, whatever you want to think about, and say what we said about Trey Waynes. Trey Waynes was a solid number 2 corner.
I liked him. He was good.
Okay. So you don't have that. And it also gets back to another thing I said was, the reason you haven't seen Harrison Smith blitz all that much is because if you take him out of the secondary, then what the heck do you got back there? So that gets back to what we're saying about Caleb Evans earlier, and what we're saying about getting Cam Dantzler back hopefully next week and beyond for the rest of the regular season and the playoff run is, yes, maybe with Dalvin Tomlinson and maybe getting your second and third string cornerback back, that you'll be able to find a better balance to where you can do some of those pressure situations, simulated or manufactured pressures earlier on in the game and not have to wait till crunch time. But let's also keep in mind, one of the things that was a little bit underrated with that Thanksgiving Day performance by the defense, they only gave up 2 touchdowns. The rest were 4 field goals. And New England kicked got their last points in the middle of the third quarter. From the middle of the third quarter on, they didn't score a point. They didn't come close. We got turnovers. We got 3 and outs, and they didn't do anything. And I'm not saying that, we won the game, so who cares? No, there does need to be some better balance. I agree with you. Look what the Vikings did against the Chicago Bears. They got up 21-3. And then the defense did what it does and gave up a bunch of points, and it ended up being tied. And then they did what they did, which is to get a key turnover at the end of the game. Of course, Amir Smith-Marset holding the ball like a loaf of bread certainly made that easy. But having said all that, let's wrap this day. Game about to start here. What's your final thoughts here real quick? You said 24-17 was your final score prediction?
Yeah, 24-17. I just think it's one of those games where their offense isn't good enough, and we just and our defense did enough. I have that feeling that they're just high on themselves right now. They're going on the road. They're not going to be used to the environment. And Mike White's not gonna be used to the environment. They're gonna
Right.
in their I had a stat on they have their running backs out. They got 3 subs in there. Who knows? Maybe one of them breaks out. I don't see it. Our offense is better than their offense.
Agreed.
And what we did with the Patriots last week kind of shows me what we can game plan to produce. So that's where we're at. Now, hey, game's about to start. Let's get going. SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikes.
Let's
like,
win
comment,
this.
subscribe to the channels, boys and girls. We'll see ya.
I'm gonna do my post game thoughts live from now on. So I will do it. I will do a live show to give my post game thoughts. A review, not necessarily a review a game. That still happens tonight at 9:15 with MC Rap on Purple Pocket Podcast. Make sure you join that. SKOL Vikings. Let's get these Jets. We're out of here.
SKOL Vikes.